Parles-tu français? Hablas español? Parli italiano? If you've used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world. With lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Wondery. Spelled BABBEL.com/Wondery. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, final hour of the week here, the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. We'll chat with Wilson Alexander of The Advocate in half an hour from right now. An hour from right now, I'll be out of this chair. Half an hour from right now, we'll talk to Wilson Alexander about his sit-down with Blake Baker, specifically about his conversations regarding Lane Kiffin and preparing for Lane Kiffin and coaching against Lane Kiffin on the field, which LSU has done the last couple of years against Ole Miss. So we'll talk to Wilson in 30 minutes. LSU and Southeastern on the hardwood tonight. Brief thought on that coming up as well. But we start with the college football playoff. I'm going to start on a negative tone. It'll be very quick, and then I'll get to the actual positive stuff and start talking about the games. How much cooler would it be tomorrow night if Oregon was hosting Notre Dame instead of James Madison? Or if Ole Miss and Vanderbilt were playing instead of Ole Miss and Tulane, which are stupid games. Okay, I've had enough of that. Let's actually talk about the games at hand. Just a quick vent. It was like 15 seconds, and now it's over. Tonight, it'll all start in Norman, Oklahoma. A very cool game. I do love these big-time brand matchups in stadiums in December in the playoff. I loved Tennessee going to Ohio State last year. I loved Clemson going to Texas last year. It's really cool, and you see this with Alabama and Oklahoma in this game, two of the most storied programs in the sport of college football. Oklahoma's a 1.5-point favorite in this game. Alabama started as a slight favorite, now Oklahoma a slight favorite. It's essentially been hovering around a pick 'em all week long, and it's a rematch game. And everyone's kind of had the same take on it, and I don't know that there is another take. You've got a physical, mean Oklahoma team with an elite defense against a soft, finesse Alabama team. Like, that's the game. And last time these two teams played in Tuscaloosa, Alabama ran the ball 33 times for 80 yards. That is 2.4 yards per carry. You're looking at Oklahoma rush defense that's 5th in the country. Alabama's rushing offense is 117th. If you want perspective on that, it's not pleasant. But LSU, how did LSU run the ball this year? They were 122nd in the country. Bama was 117th. It's what and what. Bama's rushing attack is essentially like LSU's, which is to say completely non-existent. And I just think that is such a big deal in this game. One team simply is not going to be able to run the ball. And I do think Ty Simpson's pretty good. He hasn't played as well in the last month as he did in October. He was really good at Georgia. But it's going to have to be on him. Like, if he's not a 10 out of 10 in this game, they can't win, in my opinion. He's got to be 10 out of 10. If he is 6 out of 10, they got no shot. They're not going to score 14 points if he's 6 out of 10. So it's a huge, huge deal. But on the flip side, Oklahoma's offense is not very good, y'all. It's not. Y'all know that, but John Mateer hasn't been great since he came back from the injury. They run it okay. They're not super explosive. Like, Satania can hit the big play, has hit the big play on occasion, but they're not great on offense. Here's a key that I almost never talk about, but it's worth talking about in this game. The kickers. Bama's got Connor Talty. He has missed 6 times this year, including 3 misses under 40. Not under 50, under 40. He's got 3 misses. And on the other sideline, you've got Tate Sandell. And Tate Sandell is the best kicker in college football. He's 23 of 24 this year. From over 50 yards, he is 7 for 7. And this game probably comes down to a score because I don't think Alabama's going to score a lot on Oklahoma's defense, and Oklahoma doesn't really score a lot on most of anybody. So maybe it comes down to the kickers, and that is advantage Oklahoma. I think the crowd is advantage Oklahoma. So this is a 1.5-point number. I know that everybody and their mother is going to be on Oklahoma in this game because nobody trusts Alabama's offense, and they've seen how badly they got beat by Georgia and how poorly they played against Auburn, who's not very good. But I'm taking Oklahoma because the only thing I know about this game is that Oklahoma's defense is good and it's going to show up. I don't know what Alabama offense is going to show up. I don't know how I feel about Alabama's run defense. I don't know how many big plays Oklahoma's going to be, but I know Oklahoma's defense is going to show up. So I'll take the Sooners. I'll lay the 1.5 there in Norman. Then we move to the morning game tomorrow with Miami and Texas A&M. And I'll tell you what, I know it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Those A&M fans are going to be there. That place is going to be packed. That place is going to be on springs. This is the biggest football game that Texas A&M has played in my lifetime. It's in their stadium. You've got a name brand coming in. It's going to be a madhouse in Kyle Field for this game. Aggies are 3-point favorites. And I was looking at some different angles on this game. You know, A&M leads the nation in sacks. They got 41. And Miami's got a really good pass rush as well. Bain's been great for them. They're tied for 19th in the country with 34 sacks. That actually leads the ACC. So you got the nation's leader in A&M, the ACC leader in Miami in sacks. Now, A&M's offensive line has allowed the fewest sacks in the SEC this year. But Texas did get after Marcel Reed a little bit. Texas did beat them at the point of the attack in that game in Austin. And these quarterbacks who could be under duress because of these pass rushes have made a lot of mistakes this year. Marcel Reed, 10 interceptions this year. He has thrown an interception in 7 of their 12 games. He threw 2 in Tiger Stadium. He threw a couple against Texas. He will turn the ball over at times. And Carson Beck does too. Now, his 10 interceptions have come a different way. Like Marcel Reed, again, at least 1 in 7 of the 12 games. Carson Beck's 10 interceptions, 6 of them came in their 2 losses. He threw 4 picks against Louisville. He threw 2 against SMU, and they lost that game. So what quarterback handles some pass rush? Carson Beck's going to have to deal with pass rush and the crowd. Marcel Reed won't have to deal with the crowd, but he will have to deal with the pass rush. I am curious how healthy Le'Veon Moss is for this game. A&M has missed him. He's a really good back. Now, they've got other good backs, but Moss is really good, and it seems like he's healthy, seems like he's going to give it a go. I think the running game is going to be important in this game. You cannot let these 2 pass rushes get cooking. And I trust A&M to run the ball a little bit more than I trust Miami to run the ball. I trust that Kyle Field crowd. And I don't know that I don't like Texas A&M against Ohio State. Even in Dallas, I don't think they'll win that game. But I don't like Miami going to College Station and winning. I know I'm a sucker. I know I take favorites all the time. I'm not a great handicapper. I admit that. I do a lot of research. I give you an opinion. It's usually wrong. But I like the home crowd. I like the home team's ability to run the ball. And I think that in a battle of quarterbacks that do make mistakes, I think the road quarterback is more likely to make mistakes. I'll take A&M, and I'll lay the 3 points in this game. Now, y'all know how I feel about the 2 later games. Tulane at Ole Miss, James Madison at Oregon. I think it's an absolute joke that these teams have been led into the playoff. A mockery of the sport. It has nothing to do with Tulane, has nothing to do with James Madison, it has everything to do with these stupid rules and just including everybody because we need to make everybody feel good. You got people tweeting, well, you can't exclude half the sport. Sure you can. You can exclude more than half the sport. You can. Like, I promise. I don't think they should be on the field, and I don't think they'll be very competitive. Everybody's going, well, Tulane they'll be more representative this time. They won't get blown out. Yes, they will. They will get blown out. Because Ole Miss has got a bunch of SEC dudes who are going to go play in the NFL, and Tulane's got a bunch of dudes who play in the American. They got annihilated in this game last time. They got annihilated by UT San Antonio. So I think that it's probably a game that's played pretty close to the number. I'll take Ole Miss and lay the 17.5. It's probably going to take a late score to get there. But Ole Miss is going to be able to run their offense. Keep in mind, Charlie Weiss did call the plays. Lane Kiffin was on the headset and certainly had his input. No question about that. And I think he's a big part of the brains behind the operation. But Charlie Weiss knows the communication, and he knows the offense. He'll be able to call the plays. Their quarterback's good. And they've got a good defense that's going to give Tulane nightmares. So I'm disenchanted with the whole process and prospect of these two teams in Tulane and James Madison being in the playoff, and I think that they get run off the field. Now, that in mind, if I'm wrong, and Tulane does go up there and beat Ole Miss, it will be freaking hilarious. Hilarious. Because immediately the tenor in Oxford would switch from, doesn't matter, Golding was running all the recruiting anyway. Look, he's the guy that's handled this operation for the most part. We've got the collective. We've got the dudes. We've already climbed the elite of college football. We're fine. It will switch from that to, oh, crap, in 3 hours. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. We watch these Group of Five versus SEC versus Big Ten games every September, and they almost all go the same way. 48-14, 38-3. That's what I think they're both going to look like. I'm hopeful. I'm pulling for Tulane. Roll wave. I don't think it's going to help. And you got James Madison, and I'll be pretty candid with you on this. I'm not doing research on James Madison Dukes football. I host a talk show here in Baton Rouge. We talk a lot about college football. James Madison's the playoff. I don't even know what their quarterback's name is. I don't care. I'm not interested in doing research about James Madison. They're going to go to Austin Stadium. Oregon is going to demolish them, and then they'll throw a party and go back to wherever James Madison is in Virginia. Whatever. They're going to get destroyed. I may not watch very much of this game. 6:30 kickoff Saturday night. We'll see if the kids want to watch Elf or something. I'm not watching the James Madison Dukes play Oregon in the playoff. Does that make me a bad person, Jordan, if I don't want to watch the Dukes play?
Not really, because I do see Oregon demolishing them. But hey, man, roll wave, bro. I'm on Tulane heavy. You know how I feel about Ole Miss. Can't stand them.
I guess I'm not allowed to take 4 favorites because that just makes me a huge sucker. So give me James Madison plus the points. I'll take that. That's great bet.
Over Tulane?
I'm off Tulane.
Oh, there's no way.
I'm ticked at Tulane.
I don't even think James Madison scores 14 points. I think Oregon's going to just steamroll them, like get them out of here.
I take back my pick. I got 4 favorites. Taking all the favorites, laying all the points. All the points. We're laying them all. That's what we do here. That's why we post about a 40% win percentage in our picks. Because I love the favorites. I like betting on good teams.
So you're Mr. Chalky.
Yes,
you're
just
Mr. Chalky.
chewing it by the fistful. Chalk everywhere.
I can't wait.
Got it all over my mouth. Everywhere.
Whoa! Pause. Okay. I can't wait to see your bracket for March Madness. I can't wait.
Give me the 1 seeds, baby.
They're
good.
I can only imagine what your bracket looks like.
I'm terrible at all this stuff. At least I know. Just don't give my cash away. Give me the 4 favorites. I'll watch Tulane Ole Miss for 20 minutes.
It's going to be good. It's
not going to be good.
It's going to be good.
We already saw the game.
We did.
It was a complete embarrassment.
It was, and I was on Tulane heavy that game too.
Tulane is good when they play Charlotte and whoever the heck else is in their conference.
Hey,
they played a game to get in the playoff against North Texas, the Mean Green. That's who they had to beat to get in the playoff.
They did. North Texas.
Kentucky would beat North Texas.
It'd be a shootout. It'll be a shootout. I think Kentucky will win. Hold on. I just want to say this. You know where I stand about Ole Miss. I just think they're flying way too close to the sun. I just think that
I need them to lose. I need Keywan to get on I-55 South.
I need all of them to leave just so I can just be like, Pete Golding, huh? Pete Golding. So I
can't get over that tweet. He took a headshot picture, and one of the Ole Miss podcasters said that Ole Miss is going to be a bigger problem than they already were because Pete Golding got a haircut. That was the take. He got a haircut. He shaved. Now Ole Miss is the deal.
Okay, I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wilson Alexander in 15 minutes. We'll talk Tiger hoops. I'm going to be in the PMAC tonight. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
If you don't have any interest in watching James Madison play football, you can go hit at Marucci. Got a youth baseball, softball player in your house? Take him over to Marucci. Let him swing in the cages. Get a tour. It's truly one of the coolest spots we have in Baton Rouge. They churn out 1,200 bats every day. This is an operation that started in 2004. 20 years later, it's the official bat of Major League Baseball. That's a cool thing for us to have here in Baton Rouge. It's a cool place to go see. If you got family in town this week, like, what are we going to do? Go to Marucci. Check it out. If you got kids in that crew, let them go hit. They can do that. You can take tours, and every ticket comes with a 20% discount in there at Marucci. So go by and see them. They're on Segan. And just take a tour. See one of the coolest gems that we've got here in the capital city. Marucci, official bat of Major League Baseball.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
What's it like preparing for Lane Kiffin, coaching against Lane Kiffin on game day? Well, Blake Baker knows, and he talked to Wilson Alexander about that. And Wilson wrote about it in The Advocate. He's going to talk to us about that conversation coming up in 10 minutes. LSU has not played a home basketball game in 28 days. That changes tonight. Tigers played 5 away from the PMAC. They certainly went to Destin, got wins over DePaul and Drake, then went up to Boston and beat Boston College. Then to Fort Worth, where they got trounced by Texas Tech, came back and to New Orleans and handled SMU back on Saturday. They'll play in the PMAC tonight, 7 o'clock. Southeastern comes down I-12 for a 7 o'clock tip-off. And Southeastern's not very good. They're 4-7. They've actually played 3 conference games already. Step out of conference for this one, then right back into Southland play. So this is just an opportunity for LSU to get back out on the floor after a week off. We talked to Matt McMahon earlier this week, and what he liked about the last 2 weeks is they've really had a good chance to practice. When you go to Destin, spend some time literally on the beach, and then you travel to Boston, which got back really late at night. They had to fly to New Orleans. You kind of lose a day with that situation. You've had finals, and then you had to travel to Fort Worth, then you travel back to New Orleans. Like they've done a lot of playing and traveling, not as much practicing, and they got to get back to practice. And that showed, I thought, on Saturday last week in New Orleans, where they played their best game of the year, I think by a pretty considerable margin. You could argue the DePaul game was as good, and I wouldn't fight you on that, but I think that the game against SMU was their best performance of the year. They've kind of gotten a handle on how to play without Jalen Reed now. He's been down for a couple of weeks, so it's a chance for them to get back out on the floor. They're a heavy favorite. They'll win the game tonight. There's very little doubt about that. This is a Southeastern team that ranks 328th nationally in points per game and 354th in three-point shooting. They are only 365 teams in Division I, and they're near the bottom in terms of offensive production. LSU, I don't think, is going to be a great defensive team this year. They should put the clamps on Southeastern. The goal tonight should be to hold Southeastern under 60 points. Ole Miss did that back in November, and I think LSU should aim for that tonight. It's just not a Southeastern team that packs much punch offensively. What Southeastern can do is turn you over defensively. They're 29th in the country in steals per play, and they want to get after you and play man-to-man defense, take some chances. And so I'm not really concerned with De'Don Thomas in this game. He's going to be fine. What I will be watching, and I'm digging here, trust me, I'm digging, and I know that this is nitty-gritty stuff, and we're going to get back to football here in 8 minutes, but I am curious how Jalen Reese progresses in these 3 games that LSU plays in non-conference, because De'Don Thomas needs not be asked to play 38 minutes consistently. That number needs to be closer to 33, 34, I think. He needs to be able to come off the floor a little bit, and your backup point guard is a true freshman. So this is a chance to get Jalen Reese some numbers. You look back over this 5-game stretch against better teams in the non-conference, and he's played about 8 minutes per game. I would like that to double tonight. I'd like to see him play closer to 16 and just handle the basketball, run the offense, get your feet out on the floor, because you're going to have to give De'Don Thomas a break. And I need to see Jalen Reese continue to progress. He's been fine when he's been on the floor. He's not a great shooter, but that's not what I'm asking you to do. I just need you to control the basketball, control the tempo, and get the ball where it needs to go to initiate the offense. And that needs to get through Max McKinnon. That needs to get through Mike Nwoku. That needs to come back and reset in the middle of a shot clock. Like, these are things you need to handle. I'm going to be watching LSU's freshman point guard tonight against a team that will play aggressively defensively. So I'm looking for that. And then the other thing, and this is very simple, Mike Nwoku's got to stop getting in foul trouble. LSU overcame it in New Orleans. He came out real quickly with 2 fouls after like 3 minutes of play, and LSU was fine. They went on and scored almost 50 points in the first half. But he's very important to what LSU's trying to do. And if he's on the bench, he can't be important. And the other piece to that puzzle is that you don't have Jalen Reed now. So now you're having to go to Robert Miller for more minutes than you were planning on, and you got to move Markel Sutton down from the 3 to the 4, where he's a little bit undersized physically and can't use his versatility quite like you'd like him to. I like him at the 3. When Woku gets in foul trouble and comes off the floor, LSU's got to play small. I don't really want to play small. Like, you can, but LSU doesn't shoot the 3 that well. So that's one of the things that small ball teams really like to do is get some shots up. Well, I mean, unless McKinnon's on a heater, you don't shoot it that great. So I need Mike Nwoku to get out of foul trouble. He's not been a big minute guy for LSU anyway. He's top 20 minutes twice this year. They want to play him 18 to 22 minutes in games. But that number drops like a brick when you got to come out 4 minutes in the game because of foul trouble. So he has to do one of two things: stop getting in foul trouble or learn to play with it. And Matt McMahon's not trusting him to do that right now. He's taking him off the floor. So this is a simple thing. Don't get in foul trouble, Mike Nwoku. Understand that it is literally better to give up a layup than to pick up your second foul 3 minutes into the game. You've got 37 minutes to make up for that layup. You get a foul there as your second foul, you sit for 17 minutes. You've taken yourself out for half the game. He's too important to what LSU does, because now that Reed's out, they don't have anybody that tips the scale north of 220 except Nwoku, who's up at 270. When you had Reed, you had some depth. You don't have Reed anymore, so they've got to keep him out of foul trouble in this game. Always important to knock down shots. Want to see Max McKinnon do that as he has. And LSU should coast in this game. I haven't looked at a number for this game. I will find that right now. Let me guess it. That's always a fun game. I would guess LSU is a 17.5-point favorite in this game. That's my guess. Now I'm going to pull it up, and I could look very smart. I could look very stupid. But I'm willing to do that on live air for you. So here I clicked on SEC, 23.5. So I was off by a good bit there. 23 is a lot. But you consider what I started with, that LSU should hold this Southeastern team to 55, 58 points. And if LSU does what they did in the first 5 games of the season, which is score 90, you cover that with ease. So Southeastern's bad. They're 4-7. They're 1-5 on the road. I told you that Ole Miss held them under 60. The final in that game was 88-58, so Ole Miss beat them by 30 in the regular season opener. They played Mississippi State a little bit closer than that. They played them to a 7-point game. It was 75-68 in Starkville. That's the only 2 high major games. Oh, sorry, they played at Georgia Tech as well and lost by 10. So it's not a good Southeastern team. It shouldn't be much of a game tonight, but there are some things that I want to pay attention to. And keep this in mind if you're a sicko. If you're not a sicko and you're ready for me to talk about football, I am in 4 minutes. But if you're a sicko, the efficiency numbers that LSU puts up in these games do matter for the net ranking. And LSU's net ranking looks very pretty on paper right now because they're destroying these teams. Your offensive efficiency goes up, so does your net ranking. Your defense efficiency goes up, so does your net ranking. So there is some value in winning this game by 40 points. You got to play well to do that. I think LSU will play well tonight. I'm excited to get out in the PMAC tonight. Going to watch, bring the Myers man for maybe the first half, maybe a little bit more than that. We'll see when he wants to go. When he get home, we'll watch a little Alabama, Oklahoma on the TV. But I'm going to be in the PMAC tonight. Myers man's fired up about it. So hope to see some people out on this holiday Friday. I'll be in that number. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight. Come back. We'll talk to Wilson Alexander about his sit-down with Blake Baker. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. A lot of folks renew their insurance program in January. If that's you and you want a second set of eyeballs on it, the Highland Insurance Group is happy to do that. They pride themselves on their technical expertise when it comes to insurance. It's not the most fun thing in the world to talk about, but I've seen it personally. I'm 7 years in the industry. I know what that conversation's like when a hurricane's blown through and you've got to start going through that policy and making sure that you're going to be made whole. You're going to be made whole with your building, which has been damaged. You're going to be made whole from a business interruption standpoint because you weren't able to work because there was a storm. Well, is that limit proper? Are you going to get paid out? Is there an advocate there for you when that day happens? Because you never know. Like, we can track a hurricane days in advance, but at this point, if you're renewing your policy in January, we don't know what the storm season is going to look like. You don't know when one of your employees is going to click that email he or she was not supposed to click and you've got a cyber breach. You don't know when that car accident is going to happen with a company vehicle. Make sure your policy is written properly so that you're made whole. That's what the point of insurance is. I know we like to talk about the premium on the front end, and trust me, the Howard Insurance Group will take that very seriously. They've got contracts with dozens of carriers to make sure that you're properly priced. But the coverage is paramount, and they take care of you at the Highland Insurance Group. These are experts. They know what these policies read like, and they know what to look for. They can help you out. So if you are looking for a January renewal or just want a second set of eyes on your current program because you're nervous you may not be covered, the Highland Insurance Group is happy to help you out with that. So contact Jonathan Carbo at his team, highlandig.com, highlandig.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Getting closer to the finish line here on this Friday. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Let's take it or leave it and get on down the road here shortly. But let's talk some LSU football. To do that, we bring on Wilson Alexander, beat writer over at The Advocate. Good enough to give us some time on this Friday on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Wilson, how are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Hunt?
Doing quite well. I was interested in reading your piece that you put up today, talking about Blake Baker and preparing for Lane Kiffin, coaching against Lane Kiffin. We know Blake Baker's done that at LSU, also at Missouri as well. So when you sat down with Blake Baker, what were you hoping to glean from him?
Well, the conversation was mostly for talking about his decision to come back
Yep.
and all that, which we'll, have a story about coming here, in the days, week ahead or something like that. But we were end up able to talk a little bit about, facing a Lane Kiffin offense. I thought it'd be so interesting to hear Blake's perspective on that because he did it for the past couple of years. And now here you are, your own defense coordinator here has some insight into that. And it was interesting hearing him talk about how he finds that the Lane Kiffin offense, which I guess we should start by saying, it's the Lane Kiffin offense, but Charlie Weiss is the primary play caller. But still, it's sort of that brain trust together. He described it as fearless and almost he didn't want to say, he said it's not reckless, but the word kind of came to his mind. But he said it was sort of like it's fearless and they are it makes it tough as a defensive play caller because they can be pretty unpredictable. One of the things that he mentioned was, you face them in the sixth game of the year, you've watched 5 games of tape, and what they do in that sixth game can be completely different sometimes because they're really good at breaking tendencies, understanding what their tendencies are, and then changing some things up and making that, easy to understand for their offense and able to operate even when they get away from maybe some of their typical stuff. And so, he said it can be really tough as a defensive coordinator to go up against them. Everybody
seems to share that sentiment with Lane Kiffin. There are mixed feelings about him, I think, nationally, certainly in Oxford, but nobody has questioned his offensive acumen. You watched this LSU team play offense. You chatted with Blake Baker about what it's like to prepare for Lane Kiffin. How quickly do you think Lane can get this thing up and running offensively in Baton Rouge?
It all is going to depend on the personnel, right? I mean, can they get a good offensive line in here in an off season? If they can do that, they can go sort of repair this offensive line in a hurry, then I think that LSU can make some pretty significant steps forward within a year. Because you would expect him and this offensive staff to go and get a good quarterback and to go and get some other weapons for that quarterback. You still got some stuff in the running back room that you like, and we'll see what else they bring in there. And, you need to go get some receiver help too, but you got Trades Green to build around. And if they can just get the offensive line in a good place, then I think that this offense could end up being pretty effective in year one and then continue to build moving forward. But it's just, it's a big question mark. It's a huge question mark because there's so many players that they are going to be replacing on that offensive line. How many can you go and get in the transfer portal realistically at a high level is going to be fascinating over the next few weeks.
Let's bring things back to Blake Baker. You mentioned you chatted with him about a number of topics. What do you think the last 4 weeks have been like for him?
Well, they were certainly a bit that 1 week really in particular right after Lane got hired and he was trying to decide about Tulane or Memphis was, I think, pretty hard on him. I mean, he was talking about how, he was a little bit torn there, especially with Tulane being his alma mater, trying to figure out exactly what to do. Was this the right time to make a move to become a head coach for the first time? But talking to him really got the sense that kind of in his gut the whole way through, at least he sort of seems to say that he always kind of wanted to stay. He really had been thinking throughout that entire week and from talking to people close to him even earlier in the week, that the idea of moving his family again was something that he wasn't necessarily crazy about doing, especially if he was going to be going to Tulane or Memphis, ideally, in his mind, that would be a fairly short stop on the way to becoming a Power 4 head coach. And so that, combined with the contract that LSU gave him, making it, financially a lot of sense to just stay because the money was comparable, I think it ended up really working out for him to make a decision that he felt really good about. He talked about how the next day he woke up and he was just like, yeah, this was the right move. I feel really good about this. And so since then, I don't know how stressful it's been because the signing period's over, but you're also getting ready for the portal. And so there's a lot going to that as well, and hiring now a new defensive line coach.
I want to ask you about the current structure of LSU football right now, because on the outside, like, what we know is that Lane Kiffin and obviously Billy Glasscock and those guys are looking to 26, and then you've got Frank Wilson running a team for a bowl game, and then you've got some guys, Blake Baker included, that are part of both of those. So what is your sense of how LSU football is operating right now and for the next week and a half?
From what I understand, it's almost like you've got sort of two different staffs in there, and you've got, like you described, the guys who are coming in from with Lane Kiffin, who are looking ahead to 2026 and really not worrying too much about anything to do with the Texas Bowl. You've got the continuity, at least on the defensive side, where they're able to kind of do like you normally would this time of year, where get ready for a bowl game while in the meantime looking ahead to 2026 and getting ready for the portal. But then you've also got the old staff that is on its way out the door and looking for new jobs and trying to get this thing through to the finish line, but also with an eye on their own futures. And so it's probably a little bit of a unusual dynamic in football ops right now, just with all of those different things happening. But it's also not totally, I think, foreign to these guys. People around there will often say, like, this is kind of what we signed up for in this business, and we understand that. And it sounds like everybody's, at least who's there right now, is trying to get through this bowl game and then understanding that everything will splinter off after that. We
know that Blake Baker was very, very impactful in bringing Kevin Peoples in, bringing Jake Olson in to work with his defense. Corey Raymond was a guy that was an obvious add back for Brian Kelly when the opportunity came. Defensive line's been a revolving door. What do you get the sense that process looks like right now, and when what a timeline might be for LSU filling that position?
Yeah, that could actually get done here fairly soon. LSU is targeting Sterling Lucas, the defensive line coach at South Carolina. A deal is maybe not finalized yet. I'm not sure if it's finalized just yet, but it's getting close from what I was told really just a few minutes ago. And so LSU is getting close there to wrapping that up. Elijah Robinson was a big name in this search at one point. A few days after it seemed like he was going to get hired, they started to think like, probably not, kind of went in a different direction, started interviewing some other candidates. Now Sterling Lucas is the target and could be hired here maybe by the end of the day. I'm not sure exactly what the timeline on that would be, but it's getting close from what I was told.
Very, very interesting. Well, I know we'll be looking forward to reading more about your conversation with Blake Baker, coverage of the all-important Texas Bowl, and then whatever comes after that as far as the transfer portal goes. We appreciate a little bit of time, Wilson.
Thanks for having me, Hunt.
Is Wilson Alexander with The Advocate at WHAlexander _ on Twitter. Does an awesome job for The Advocate. So that's interesting news, kind of breaking news there from Wilson that LSU could have an offensive line coach from South Carolina. I don't know anything about him, and we'll have to do some research on that. I know that South Carolina's had some pretty good defensive fronts the last 2 years. Now, personnel, big part of that. Dylan Stewart, pretty good player. Last year they had five. I can't remember his name. He was a terror. Yeah, Kyle Kennard was a monster on the other edge. So, yeah, they've had some pretty good ones. So, sounds good to me based on just knowing those two things. That's all I got. But we'll certainly do some research on that, and sounds like we'll have something to talk about early next week. Just a little bit of housekeeping for us. We will have shows Monday and Tuesday of next week. The 22nd and 23rd will be off on Christmas Eve, the 24th on Wednesday, Christmas Day, of course, on Thursday, and then we'll be off on that Friday as well. So short week for us next week, Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to enjoy some time in Shreveport. And then LSU plays next Saturday. So we'll have a normal pre- and post-game show for LSU. I'm not sure what Guarantee's plan is. We go on 8.1 game day. I would find it hard to imagine a full 2-hour post-game show is going to be done because that game's going to be over after midnight. I'm not going to be done until like 2.
I have news.
Oh, what's that?
There is no post game for this game.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all. One, very few people give a rip about the outcome of this game.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that out loud, but I'm not going to blow smoke. It just is what it is.
This is what Hanny said, so you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, and look, I when I saw the game time for that, I went, well, that's terrible because 8:15, a bowl game, which they sell commercials till the cows come home on that thing. So you're talking 12:30 at the earliest that game's over.
Yeah.
That puts me on the air at 1, done at 2.
Yeah.
That's me on, and so that would be Hanny 2 to 4.
Yeah, and he was like, we're not doing that.
I don't think so. Good idea, Hanny. Great call on that for Eagle. The only bowl game I did not want LSU to play in was the Texas Bowl.
Yeah.
On my kid's birthday, prime me out of Shreveport.
You did do that.
I got to leave a day early, up till 2. It's going to be not great, but it is what it is. Got to go take care of business in the Kinder's Texas Bowl, baby. Got to tame the Cougars.
8:15 kickoff.
Just not great. I'm done complaining. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. Find them online, lifetimeroofingla.com. Had a great sit down with the crew over at Lifetime Roofing in their gorgeous facility, by the way, just off of College. They've been there for a couple of years now. They've got an amazing staff. It's a growing staff over there at Lifetime Roofing, and they are an incredible local company. Listen to some of the deals that they've got for you. They've got financing available if you're buying a roof from them, 0% for up to 18 months. 0%, same as cash. And they can finance a deductible. So if you are getting insurance involved, there is a claim that you're making, and you want to finance that deductible, you've got a sizable deductible, maybe a 2%, you can finance that as well. And how about this? As of January 1st, so give it a couple days, week and a half, as of January 1st, they can offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Incredible stuff over at Lifetime Roofing. If you want to learn more, you can reach out to them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. They do re-roofing. They do inspections to give you the peace of mind to know that your roof is in good shape. They'll do a roof tune-up for you. Not every roof needs to be replaced. Maybe you just need a tune-up, but if you need a replacement, they can do that. Maybe you get insurance involved. Maybe you do not. You just purchase one from the folks over at Lifetime Roofing. They will help you out with financing options available. Check them out online, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Got a whole crew coming in this coming week for the holidays. Don't want to spend all your time cooking and cleaning. Just call Corks. They'll cater. Big old trays, jumbo shrimp. Big old trays, crispy fried catfish. They got your French fries. Got all the sauces you need, your tartar sauce, cocktail sauce. Also got the Cork sauce, which is awesome. The recipe was developed right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. It is phenomenal. So stop on by for dinner this afternoon, this evening, or have them cater your big family gathering for Christmas. They're happy to feed the office for lunch if you're doing that to start the year off. And they're happy to help you in whatever way you need help with delicious crispy fried catfish and jumbo Gulf shrimp. Whatever way that may be, Corks can help you out with it. Check them out online, corksfishandshrimp.com, corksfishandshrimp.com. All right, should I have picked all 4 favorites in the college football playoff? Was that foolish? I don't think Jimmy would approve that.
I wouldn't approve it at all, too, because I'm about to say that it's too chalky. It's too chalky.
Well, who am I supposed to take on the underdog side? Tulane?
You already know, man. Roll wave, man. We are. Listen, Hunt.
Jake Retzlaff?
Yeah, I mean, look, it ain't the best roster, but we're both in agreement. We hate Ole Miss. We hate Ole Miss.
Sure.
So we have to. And well, again, I'm talking to somebody from New Orleans, so I'm a roll with Tulane. It ain't like Tulane, Tulane cool colors and all that, they cool. But I'm not. I don't like Uptown, so that's why for the Tulane people here, I'm not an Uptown guy. Not an Uptown guy. West Bank, not an Uptown guy. Not an Uptown guy. But I'm rolling with the wave. I hate Ole Miss even more, so that's why I feel like at least just throw them because we know that underdog and James Madison, Oregon, that's going nowhere. Let's be real. We know that ain't going nowhere.
Here's what I need. I need either
yes,
Ole Miss or Texas A&M to lose. One of them. That will bring me enough enjoyment for the weekend. Now, that's petty. That's pathetic. That's pitiful because my team's 7-5 and the Texas Bowl stinks.
Yes.
I get it, but what else do I have?
We don't have much, but you just jogged my memory with that because you asked me earlier what were the picks. A lot of handicappers, they're on Miami. They're on Miami, so you might be able to. A lot of them on Miami.
The question is, like, is A&M really good like they were? They go beat Notre Dame on the road.
Yeah.
What we saw in the second half in Tiger Stadium, what we saw in the second half against South Carolina, or is that first half against South Carolina and the second half against? Now, keep in mind they were winning at halftime against Texas and they got beat in the second half. Are those halves more indicative of really what they are? We know what the schedule was. A&M got the biggest break in the history of the league.
We broke it down
in scheduling, but I still think they're decent. They got some good players. I need Marcel Reed to throw picks. I need Carson Beck to not throw picks. That's what it comes down to. They both threw 10 this year.
Ooh.
I think Kyle Field's going to be on fire. I think they're going to be hard to handle in there. That's just my feeling. Like most stadiums would prefer that night game. I'm sure A&M certainly would prefer the night game, but they're going to be going nuts in there.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Look, this next week's going to be a little bit booze forward, right? It's just the way things go around the holiday season. If you're looking to pick something up, bring to a party, or to have at the house, Flight by Yingling. I got some in the fridge right now, and I'm probably going to have one after I get home from the basketball game. That's just the way things go. It's Flight by Yingling. It's everything you're looking for in a light beer. Just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and all that delicious flavor from the oldest brewery in America. Still family-owned and operated. That is Yingling. Flight by Yingling. Next generation of light beer.
Okay, to start it off, this one really isn't a take or leave it. I just want you to put your mark in the sand right now. So it's a 5-team race for the number one pick in the NFL between the Raiders, the Titans, the Browns, the Jets, and the Giants. Call it now, Hunt. Who is getting the number one pick in the draft?
The Raiders? Is that right?
Yeah, the Raiders,
I
the
think
Titans, the Browns, the Jets, and the Giants.
Aren't the Raiders just awful?
Terrible.
They had 75 yards last week.
They're terrible.
That's my pick.
The Raiders.
Give me the Raiders.
Mendoza, the Raiders, number one pick?
Man, is that?
They need a quarterback. It ain't Geno.
I'll like hand up, and y'all know this is like a work thing. It's not a choice thing all the time.
Yes.
When LSU plays at 7.
Oh, you're watching LSU? Yeah, of course.
Then I'm on the air at 5. That means I'm getting to campus at 3:30. That means I'm leaving my house a little bit before 3. And then from 3 p.m. to midnight, I'm in LSU. And I haven't watched Indiana play that much. Okay. I watched the whole Big Ten championship games. Like, I have seen Mendoza play, but like, why? Is it because Indiana's been terrible my whole life that I just don't feel like he's like awesome? I don't get like.
He's not flashy.
I don't
like
get
a
Andrew
Daniels.
Luck, Cam Newton, Joe Burrow vibes from Fernando Mendoza.
He's not that.
I don't know. I don't get the sense that some organizations hit the jackpot because they can draft Fernando Mendoza first. It might be simply because of the uniform he's wearing. Like that could be it. But I haven't seen him that much. I don't know. And then going to the Raiders, like.
Oof. Hey, look, he's not dynamic like those guys you said, those Pantheon legends, but he's kind of like a Gen Z Kirk Cousins. That's the best way I can explain Mendoza.
Look, you could do worse at quarterback than prime Kirk Cousins. That guy was chucking around for $5,000 a year, so whatever. And
he ran up over, I think it's close to like $500 million all time. So listen, Arch Manning's reportedly taking a pay cut in revenue share at Texas in 2026 in the hope of building the Texas Longhorn roster for a championship run for his final season in college football. Now we're having college football quarterbacks taking pay cuts like franchise QBs. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I love it.
I'll take
it. It's a capitalist market. Go get what you can get, as they say. But I love the fact that Arch Manning's like, well, if we need to save, like his grandparents have plenty of money.
Yeah.
His dad and mom have plenty of money. He's got plenty of money. Like if we're I don't know what we're talking about here, but if you need to disperse that to go get some offensive linemen. I think that's awesome. Look, I've seen LSU baseball players, Rafe Rhymes and Mason Katz, when they were the best 2 players on the team in 2013, outside of Nolan Bregman, but they were the stalwart veterans. They weren't on scholarship because you had 11.7 and said, well, you can use it elsewhere. Rafe Rhymes told us that story in a press conference one time. Like, they were the best 2 hitters on the team, and they were like, we're not going to be on scholarship. Go use that 11.7. It's not very much. Go use it on other players. This is pre-NIL, obviously. I love that, trying to win. We feel like everything's me. And, that's the rules, so go do your thing. But I like when people go with we, and I think Arch Manning is doing a good thing there. So good on you, Arch.
Shout out Arch, man. New Orleans' very own. So
Uptown Zone.
Uptown Zone. I know he went to Newman, whatever.
He's from Uptown. The Mannings
we'll let him
bleed
slide.
Uptown.
We'll let him slide this one time. Okay, let's talk about this last New Orleans team before we get about it. New Orleans Pelicans complete the biggest comeback in franchise history last night versus the Houston Rockets as the Pelicans come back down from 25 to go to OT and win the game. Now the Pelicans have their first win streak all season, 3-game win streak. They're only 5 games out of the play-in. Will the Pelicans make the push?
Oh, my God. You did not just say that.
Yes, I did. I'm saying it.
We finished the show this week with you saying the Pels are 5 out of the play-in.
The play-in, the 10th seed. We're almost there.
Oh, my heavens. We have got to get to the weekend. Got to get to the weekend.
They're there.
Does my guy Tari Eason still play for the Rockets?
Yes, he does. He
should have done something about that comeback. The Pelicans.
I'll take it.
We're not taking it. We're leaving it. The Pels.
Leave it alone.
My buddy said if the Pels make the playoffs, he's buying everybody steak dinners. I don't think it's going to happen.
Tell him hit me up.
You can go to my place. That's it for this week. Our Friday shows are brought to you by Corks. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand. It's a travel weekend. If you're traveling, be very, very safe. We're back on Monday. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further View. Have a great weekend. See you Monday for the next edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. I have got to get through 40 more seconds of this read without sneezing, and we'll see if it happens or if it doesn't. But you got to know about Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, now under new ownership. You know the Fabry name. They've been in business more than 3 decades in the Baton Rouge area. You can trust them. Their customer service is second to none, and this is a huge inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles up there in St. Francisville. They got Tahoes, Silverados on the Chevy side. They got your Sierras, Yukons, Denali's. If you're looking at the end of this year, first quarter of next year at getting a new or a pre-owned vehicle, make the short drive to St. Francisville and see them at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you'd like to see what they've got on the lot, it's all there on FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. If you need some service done to your vehicle before that Christmas road trip, they can service all makes in their service department in St. Francisville. You know the Fabry name. They're up in St. Francisville now on Highway 61. It's FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.